Well, everyone, let's get to the matter of the day, and it is about security. President Muhammadu Buhari today received an audience as Deputy Senate President, Senator Ofia Omar Agege, at the State House. After the meeting, Senator Omar Agege says the Senate is not happy with the security situation in the land, especially in states like Zamfara and other hotspots. He says they have taken a position on the matter, and they believe the Commissioner of Police should do more, as the President has provided all that is necessary to tackle the situation to justify the position they hold. Is also backing the call by the Vice President to deploy the military at checkpoints in the South to provide better security as well as reduce issues of kidnapping and banditry.
Okay. We are not happy, like most Nigerians, about what is going on in places, most especially places like Zamfara. We believe that the head of the security outfit there in Zamfara, being the Commissioner of Police, I believe they can do more than they have already done. We're encouraging them to do that. Mr. President has provided everything that ought to be given to them, everything in terms of funding they've received, in terms of acquisition of weaponry that's been provided for them. It's now left for them to justify the positions they hold. There is Zamfara State and the other states, of course. Nigerians need to be assured of their safety at all times. That's the essence of governance, as guaranteed by the Constitution. Therefore, if, as canvassed and indeed ordered by the Vice President, that we have the Army provide security at the checkpoints, if that will go to prevent this kidnapping and banditry, why not?
Let's get to it, everyone, shall we? So today, we're dwelling and staying on the issues that perhaps some of the major political stories in the land. These two men, President Muhammadu Buhari and former President Olusegun Obasanjo, share a lot of similarities. They are friends. One was a boss when they were in the army, but they have not agreed on so many issues in the past years, which the former President Olusegun Obasanjo has always voiced that. Is the one who writes open letter. The last one he wrote to President Buhari, he told him not to contest the 2019 elections because of what he describes as a failure to deliver. And now, the former President Olusegun Obasanjo has written yet another open letter, this time voicing his concerns about the security situation across the nation. In the letter, Chief Obasanjo explains that he's constrained to make it an open letter because the issues are weighty and worrisome to all concerned Nigerians. And so the contents should be available to all who can help in proffering effective solutions to the problem of insecurity in the land. The former president goes on to disown a number of articles written recently and ascribed to him by those whom he believes are seeking credence and attention for the views and opinions. He expresses his concern and fears that the nation, at what he described as it at the precipice and dangerously reaching a tipping point where it may no longer be possible to hold danger at bay, according to Chief Obasanjo, and I quote, "When people are desperate and feel that they cannot have confidence in the ability of government to provide security for their lives and properties, they will take recourse to anything and everything that can guarantee their security individually and collectively," end of quote. He also disputes government's claim of victory over Boko Haram, pointing out that the potency and the activities of the insurgents remain undiminished where they are active. On the farmers' herders crisis, Chief Obasanjo blames the government for treating the issue with levity, causing it to fester and spread, developing into banditry, kidnapping, armed robbery, and killings all over the country. He explained that, quote, "The unfortunate situation is that the criminality is being perceived as a, quote, Fulani menace unleashed by Fulani elites in a different part of the country for a number of reasons, but even more, unfortunately, many Nigerians and non-Nigerians who are friends of Nigeria attach the curious responsibility to you as a Fulani elite and the current captain of the Nigeria ship. Perception may be as potent as reality at times. Whatever may be the grievances of the Fulanis, if any, they need to put out in the open, and their grievances, if legitimate, be addressed," end of quote. There are a lot of stuff that the president said, over 5 pages or so in that open letter. And we have tried to make sense of it for you. We highlighted some of the fears of the president. He did say Nigeria is reaching a tipping point at the precipice. He did say Boko Haram attacks is unabating against the claims of the government. He did say illiteracy and growing unemployment is a major issue in the land. He did say poor management of our diversity is one of the issues that is causing the problem in the country. And he says that he's worried about what he has described as avoidable calamities in the land. These are some of the issues, and he gave suggestions and solutions. Let's get talking tonight on this one and find a lasting solution. Whether the president will listen to this man who has always approached him, is a senior when they were in the army. He was a former president before he became a president. He was a former head of state before he became a head of state. Let's get talking, shall we? And so let's go to Abuja studio where my panel is seated. I have joining me a former lawmaker and an APC chieftain, Mr. Cletus Obon, right there for you. And also we have Alhaji Yabagi Sani. He's a former presidential candidate in the 2019 elections and the national chairman of the ADP. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on tonight. Let me get your immediate reaction, Mr. Cletus Obon, to what former President Olusegun Obasanjo has raised. Critical issues that he has put up. This time around, it looks like a mild, less counter-personal issues, but they look like national issues. Some people have described it as perhaps a statement from an elder statesman. What's your reaction?
Well, let me first say that the former president, in addressing the issues at hand in this particular letter, unlike the previous letters, have been toned either by age or by reprimand. And to that extent, we say that he is vintage Obasanjo. But the issues at stake, what he has raised are, to the best of my knowledge, germane issues. But how are the solutions proffered and what are the foundations of it? We cannot, as a government, say that we were unaware of what was happening. But the magnitude of what we have met and the circumstances that have been thrown up are such that you cannot but agree that there are aggravating circumstances and situations. And those aggravating circumstances and situations include especially, but not limited, to the unanswered question of the headsmen, which both the president and most commentators, including this particular letter, have agreed are national questions and national problems. They are not a Buhari question. They are not an APC question. They are not a problem that APC is expected to reply to, but which a president, as father of the nation at the moment of crisis, has to respond to.
Mr. Cletus Obon, perhaps, just a moment, let me butt in quickly, and let me show you, perhaps in details, that's Alhaji Yabagi Sani, who has since joined us. Thank you so much. But Mr. Cletus Obon, let me quickly show you what the president said in detail, because you're saying that, look, these are problems that the president met on the ground. But if you look at what perhaps on Obasanjo's fears, he did say that the president is perhaps treating some of these issues with kid's glove. He says, and I quote, "I'm addressing here, what I'm addressing here is very serious. It is the issue of life and death." He went further to say that the issue can no longer be ignored, treated with nonchalance, swept under the carpet, or treated with cuddling glove. Those are some of the words used by the former president in relation to the realization, the fact that these issues may have been on the ground, but the treatment of the government of the day is what he has a problem with.
I do think this is an unfair comment to make. Let me say this to you. This is an unfair comment to make, to think and imagine that given the government of what is on ground and the actions taken by this president, anybody who is living in Nigeria will say that the issue of security and insecurity have been treated with levity. I do think that the use of the terminologies, we need to have to get back into our dictionaries and get into the etymological origins of such terms and language as being espoused by President Obasanjo. Let me ask you this. In what way will the president have reacted beyond what is done today than deploying all the security agencies and apparatus into all the areas and flashpoints of our national crisis I give you, for example, the vice president was already in the place where Funke was killed. I also
let me pause you for a moment.
Zamfara,
Sorry, apologies. Let me pause you for a moment, Mr. Cletus Auburn, because we need to go on a break. Professor Wole Soyinka has spoken. He did say that the president does not have the capacity on some of these issues. We allow Alhaji Yabagi Sani to react to some of these issues, what Professor Wole Soyinka had said, which you will hear on this break. When we return, we'll talk more about the open letter of this man to the president. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. These faces are not new to you, perhaps in politics or in national discourse. This man, the former president, is not new to open letters. He has written yet another one to the president and is advising him on the issues of insecurity and national cohesion. So a lot of issues have been brought to the table tonight that we are dissecting and looking for a way forward for the country. Some of the issues being raised by the president. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo, he has his fears and he's worried that if care is not taken and action be taken urgently, Nigeria might slide into all of these situation, God forbid. And now is making suggestions and solutions. Whether or not the president will take it, that's another issue for another day. But tonight, we're looking at the solutions that he has preferred, the issues that he has raised. Let me go back to our Abuja studio and go straight to Alhaji Yabagi Sani, the national chairman of the ADP and the former presidential candidate in the 2019 elections. Thank you so much for coming on. I read a quote out of the letter written by former President Olusegun Obasanjo, raising a concern. You heard what Professor Wole Soyinka also said about the capacity of this government in handling some of these issues. This is perhaps very indicting, and perhaps looking for the way forward is to ask the president to sit up, and he said, and I quote, "This issue can no longer be ignored, treated with nonchalance, swept under the carpet, or treated with cuddling glove." What are your reactions to President Obasanjo's comments?
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I think I would like to commend the effort of the former president by always coming out to state the case as it is, especially when it affects the nation, like he says, the foundation of the nation. But one thing that we must not lose sight of or forget quickly is that I remember it was 1994 when OPC was formed until 1999 when it became a menace, just like the Hasmen now. It will appear in this country whenever somebody from your tribe is in power, people became more daring in attacking the foundation of this country. We remember what OPC was doing, killing people in the southwest and what have you. But I salute and I really commend the effort of President Obasanjo, because that time he banned the OPC and he said that the police should shoot aside anybody that they saw causing havoc or things like that. So that is why some of us are at pains, with the president, because the president, I'm sure, is doing a lot, but he has not come out to say anything, coming from the president himself, in a manner that would demonstrate to Nigerians that the president is not in any way protecting his own kinsmen, because that is the issue. The issue is that Mr. President is in a difficult position. He's a Fulani man. The problems we're having is coming from the Fulani herdsmen, the Boko Haram. These are people that are from the north, Muslim. The president is a Muslim. He's from the north. He's a Fulani man. So that is the unfortunate situation that we have. But President Buhari, that I know, like we have all seen, I don't think Mr. Buhari will condone, what will affect the nation as it is happening today. So we are saying that President Buhari must lead. I didn't like the way he came out to say that the service chief should demonstrate, and then justify the resources spent on them. No, it is you that was elected, not the service chiefs. He has to demonstrate, he has to lead, and he has the capacity. We know. That's why Nigerians elected him when he came to power. So the issue at stake is that of security. We've been shouting, we've been saying all the things that President Obasanjo said. All of us have echoed it, in so many ways that change the people who are in charge of the management of the security architecture in this country. Because it matters. If you don't punish or you don't reward, you're not a leader. A leader must punish. You must reward. I have not seen anybody being punished by Mr. President, not the service chiefs, not on the economic front. The minister did not perform. Nobody was sacked. Nobody was queried, to our knowledge. And this is why the things are degenerating to the level they are degenerating today. If
sorry, let me butt in quickly and put this question to you. Is it going too far to relate what the fears of the former president? He said he's worried about avoidable calamities. Is it a possibility based on what we are seeing on hand today? If it is so, should the president really stand up and take up some of these issues? The former president has raised an issue. He's asking for a collective thinking, something like for Nigeria to come together for a dialogue. Those are some of the issues that he has raised. Do you think that President Buhari should come out with an open statement in addressing some of the issues raised by President Buhari, Obasanjo, immediately?
No, I don't think he should, because unfortunately, President Obasanjo has identified with the opposition. So these proposals will be seen to be coming from the opposition party, which is the PDP. You know, this is why I was saddened when President Obasanjo came out openly to support, the PDP. He's supposed to be a statesman, an elder statesman, that whenever he speaks, it should be somebody speaking on behalf of this country. But all the beautiful proposals that are put forward today will be seen from a bad light, from a different light, not from the light of a statesman, because he did not hide his support, for the other side of the politics. So everything will be seen in the political light. It will not be seen in the proper light that it should be. But having said that, I'm not expecting Mr. President to react to what President Obasanjo has said, because it will be taken as political. I know government will sit up, because that's what it's all about, is to put your opponent, on their toes. But for them to come and say we are going to go into the proposals given by President Obasanjo and the president to implement them, I don't think that will happen. What will happen is that there will be more serious, actions now taken against the issues which is the fundamental issues, which is the obscurity, which we can fight.
Okay, let me quickly go back to Honorable Cletus Obon. Honorable Cletus Obon, some people would debate, they would tell you, ignore the messenger, look at the message. Those are some of the issues that have been raised here by former President Olusegun Obasanjo. He said calamities to avoid. He listed 4 of them. He pointed out the issues of Yugoslavia, the issues of the genocide in Rwanda, that we cannot afford to go and stride into those kind of situations. And he's saying that the president should take action. As an APC chieftain, what would you be telling the president today? Your party has gotten the mandate to fix this country.
Well, most of the time, Shaun, let me digress a little by pointing out one thing. This is a Nigerian government. It is not my government. It is your government as well as channels. That is one point I would like to make. The second point is that the APC as a government came in with a manifesto. That manifesto cannot go beyond the Nigerian mandate and the Nigerian project, which must go beyond partisan political divides. The third thing I want to make, and the third point I want to make about Obasanjo's letter and recommendations, as Alhaji Sani has pointed out, is that in spite of the fact that he now lacks the moral high ground to give advice as a statesman, having denied himself the opportunity to speak as a father of the nation, and himself having presided over, there are channels, I insist, the Council of State to which he sits can offer this advice without him getting into these advertorials for himself as statesman and seeing himself as a hero of the Nigerian project. The second thing is that what Soyinka has been saying has been taken completely out of context, which coincides with what I have always maintained, that we have a Nigerian and national problem. It is not an APC problem. It is not a Buhari problem.
All right.
It is a Nigerian problem for which all of us must have. The security apparatus as it stands today, I had made this point when I was in your studio last time in Lagos, that I am shocked that we still have this type of security apparatus in place without even changes as much as
we need to leave it at that. Honorable Cletus Obon, and I must sincerely thank you for your interventions as well as what Alhaji Yabagi Sani has said tonight. Many thanks. We're looking for the solution to some of these problems, some of the issues raised. God forbid these things happen. And some of these issues, we hope that in the coming days, there will be some quick action on this. But that's how we leave it tonight. And perhaps that national discourse will continue. That's the show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Shaun Kimale. Good night.